I was born in Murang'a County, Central Province by then, in this beautiful country of Kenya. A place called Gadera, near Maragua SDA Church. I was born in a Christian family. My parents were the present AIC, which was by then called Africa Inland Mission, AIM. We did not have a church in our area, but we had a school, and therefore I don't remember us going to church as such. There was no AIM church near my parents were going from. And when I came to be in contact with the matters of religion, because that was Mimi, where I was going to church, is when I was in school, primary school. That was during the Mau Mau conflict. They started, by that time I was in Standard 4, they started the program of allowing preachers from outside, pastors by then in our reverends, to come to the church and teach us religion. So the idea was that we don't join our parents in Mau Mau issues. We were interested in matters of religion, and that's where I got in contact with the religious matters. Except at home, our parents, we were praying together, singing together. I can still remember the good songs my mother was singing, and therefore that is on matters of religion. I was born 78 years ago, less 30 days, because this 50th March, I'm going to celebrate my 78th birthday. I was born on the 15th March, 1943, and my father was one of the educated few, therefore they had the record of our birth. The first things I remember were like the airplanes, which were flying fairly low, bombing the Aberdare Forest and Mount Kenya. I also could remember that the lifestyle had changed, because we were moved from our home to the village. We were all put together in the village. We did not move far, because where they allocated the village, we were at the periphery of the village. Therefore, we just became part of the village. But whenever the Mau Mau would come at night, then the government soldiers would come in the day. And therefore, what we normally did was, sometimes we would run away to the bushes, and we hide there. Sometimes we are arraigned there. And one of the rules from the parents that even if you want to say, you don't do it, because there should be no noise, so that you are not known where we are. And having been AIM members, then we were like an educated, we were like an elite family in our vicinity. After I grew, I went to school. During our time, we did not have many chances for secondary education. Therefore, I remember that's the time Giri's High School had just been opened. I would have joined Giri's High School after my start at the 8, but I missed by one.
1 mark.
1 mark. I didn't join yet. Therefore, I joined the Technical but then they took out the technical and trade school. And I took a course in tailoring. I'm a tailor. I can, and we were taught by the whites. And then carpentry. We did what we called dovetail joints, daddy joints, that when two pieces of timber are joined, you won't really know the mark. Then that was I did my started 1958, and then 59 I went to Thika Technical School. 1960 I left. 1960 I went to land demarcation. But land consolidation, we were demarcating land. That was Central Province by that time. Yeah. I was employed as a land consolidation clerk. And then from there, I left work. I wanted to be a free person, therefore I wanted business. And in fact, I had decided I had a passion to be a rich Kikuyu. And therefore I went to business. I started giving food to schools. I started planting tomatoes, vegetables, and all this. And I remember I could plant sukuma wiki and make sure that within 21 days they are in the market. By giving a lot of water with overhead irrigation. During that time, a friend of my elder brother had become an Adventist. And I did not know that. I had not joined my father, my parents in AIM. I had joined another denomination. In fact, you people know me as Francis Njau, but my full names by then were Francisco Sawerio Gregorius Njau Njoroge. I had to drop two to have the three names, and therefore that's the denomination I was worshiping on Sunday. I had a passion for reading. Because although I was just doing horticulture, farming and business, I made sure that I always read East African Standard. By then it was a very big tabloid. And I remember I had subscribed Time magazine when it was being sold for 2 shillings and 50 cents.
Your word is good.
And therefore, during that time, the only reason is because I did not want to be told information. I wanted to know the information. And therefore, I heard this person, he was called Noam Budhiam. He said, it is difficult to talk religion with Pastor Njau, but he likes reading. And therefore, I will not tell him about anything. I'm just giving the books. I started giving the books. Of all the books he gave me, one fascinated me. It is in my Bible, God speaks to modern man. And I thought that because I'm a modern man, then why can't I read this book? And I enjoyed the book. It had a very good flow of information. But then it surprised me by telling me that the day I was worshiping was not the correct day to worship God. Then, did I get corrected? I read, and I took interest. Then I said, I have a problem. I went to the pastor of my former church, we call the father, And I told him, please tell me, which day of worship? Which is the day of worship? He told me, we worship on Sunday because Jesus resurrected. Saturday was for the Jews. I accepted. But then when I went back, then he gave me another book. And it was great controversy. Then I read that book. Then I said, this message is coming this way. And then I started talking with Buddha. What is this matter? And from there, I came to know that Saturday is the day of worship. Is the correct day of worship. And I came to know, because as a reader, that something happened in history that made the changes. Then I say, now I have known the truth. But I'm not going to start keeping the Sabbath, because number one, by that time I was around Sagana area. I was doing horticultural farming there, and the Karatina was the best market, and the day for selling, the market day was Saturday. Then I said, let me continue with my business, and the time will come for me to keep Saturday, because if I start keeping Saturday now, I have no place for my tomatoes and my vegetables, and therefore I tried to skip it, no matter. But I had workers, I had casual workers for the farm. And when we are working on Sabbath, I could say that although we are working today is the day to worship God. And my worker, one of in fact I remember it was called Dungo, kept telling me that Njau, stop talking about Saturday because you don't keep it. Then that time I keep quiet. Then after a time I forget, then I repeat, and then I get a warning. Then one day he came and was very strict to me that Njau, don't talk about Saturday. You even make us work on the day, you even make us work on Saturday. If it is a good day of God, why are you not keeping it? And I was not happy. And I said that this is my worker. How can he blast me that way? I'm going to sack him. I'm going to sack him in the evening. Tomorrow there is no work. After we went and we ate, I prepared to sack him. But then I said, yes, Dungu is one of my best worker. And I'm sacking him because of always telling me about Saturday. Then, is that fair? Therefore, I think the best thing is not to sack him, but to stop talking about Saturday. Forget it. And that's what I did. But then one day I was bringing tomatoes I brought tomatoes to Nairobi, the Wakurima market. By that time it was called the Mincing Lane market. And it was that time we had an accident in a bus. And it was during that accident, as the bus was rolling, when I remembered about the Sabbath. And I told God, I don't want to die. I want to keep the Sabbath. After that, as we were discussing, another lady came to buy books, and she disrupted our discussion. I was not happy because I was left. She started attending the lady. After the lady went, then he came back to me. Then I went home, and when I went home, I told my mom that my journey to Nairobi was successful, and now I am saved. And from now I'll be keeping the Sabbath. And I want you to come so that we be worshiping together. She told me, you are the one who have decided. That's your Sabbath. Myself, I will not leave my church, even if the angels would come. Then I concluded in my mind, I have started my religious life with a big challenge. But I put it off. Tuesday come, I think allowed Thursday there. I told Mama, we have been planning that one day we shall go to Nairobi. We sell our produce, tomatoes, and then we buy utensils for the home. Why can't we make it this week that we go to Nairobi? We sell tomatoes. Myself on Saturday, I go to the Sabbath. I leave you wherever you are. And then after that, we come and buy things and go home. She agreed. Therefore, we came to Nairobi, each with his or his own mission. Her for utensils, me to keep the Sabbath. But when we came to Fano Juma. We slept in Njau in his house. That was on Friday. Then Sabbath morning comes, and now we see people there. And I tell her, Mama, let me go to the Sabbath. She tells me, you go, but I also want to see. She's following me. And therefore she came. And we went in. We found groups of people worshiping, discussing. Is this the church? Then we were welcomed in one. We participated. Then after that, we are told to go to the church. We went to the church. And then, I'm just looking at this. Then we see some elders come. And then they said, we are told to stand in vocation and doxology, what we sat down. No, but there's something I forgot. Before that, during the discussion in the classes, we were told to give an offering. I give an offering, all that I had. But within a few minutes, they came again for an offering. Then I said, what? A second one? And from that time, me and Mama started keeping the Sabbath. She followed me in Sabbath keeping. When I was called to be a minister, when I was in business, I was satisfied. I only wanted to have knowledge of issues, and that's why I was a subscriber to magazines and all these things. Now I've been called to be a pastor. I had a challenge. I don't have qualification I don't have a degree, I don't have anything. It's very interestingly, during our time, you became a pastor before you were trained. And I can see the advantage of that. The church was testing whether you are really called or you are going to make it. And therefore, here I come. I came to know that I did not have any chance of further education. And they have called me to be a pastor. What am I going to do? Then I decided that what I'm going to do is to have the knowledge that they have when they go to school. Because that knowledge is in the books. The only thing I'll never have is the document. And I started buying books. And that's how I had my knowledge. I had this knowledge. And I could discuss even with pastors, even theological issues. But I was just there. Let me just tell you that it's very interesting that when I became the conference secretary, the conference president, the conference ministry secretary, all this, I did not have education beyond the one I had, academic. And my ministerial training was 6 months. Kamagambo. Oh, that's all I have. But I had books. Therefore, I had the knowledge, but no equivalent documents. And therefore, that's how I decided. In fact, I remember I had to say, when Pastor Mbirai was in America, and I knew he was coming, I told him to bring me the sort of an encyclopedia. Therefore, I bought, let me say that, I educated myself. I had self-education through Christian literature. And that's why I am what I am because of my library. I went, I did GCE, and I went. Now, when I was the conference president, and I did not have any way of going to school. But then Baraton University, when I was pastoring Central Church, just called me, just by phone. I was in Central Church. And they told me, Pastor Njau, the one who was calling me was called the Pastor Moyo, the registrar. Are you Pastor Njau? Yes. Of Central Church? Yes. The university council has decided that you come to Baraton University. We want to certificate. I remember the words. We want to certificate your knowledge. I asked him, what do you mean? He told me that we know you have the knowledge that should be certificated, should have a document. We want you to come here. But when I was conference secretary, I had been invited by the head of the theology department in Baraton to go and address the outgoing pastors on a subject they had given me things that the seminary never teaches the church pastor. And I did it on Friday, Sabbath, and Sunday. Like what we would call a visiting professor. And I lectured, and then that came to an end. Only now to be called later by the same university to go to Baraton. That's how I went to Baraton. There was somebody called Professor Reed Thomas, who the multi-purpose hall in the university is his. He's called Professor Reed Thomas. That elder, when I was the conference president, started a program of training Africans to be lay pastors, to be lay evangelists. And he was using my little book as the textbook. Therefore, even when I was in Baraton or Bugama, he could come, get Mama Lungu. They go and produce a book. And that's how I survived. 1991, I was elected as the conference ministerial secretary and conference executive secretary. Then after that, I was selected to be another 1 year Nakuru as the regional director to prepare Nakuru to be a conference. Then I came back. I was elected to be the president of the conference. Then after that, I left the conference. That's when I was posted to Nairobi South, and from there to Central Church. When I look back, I believe that I have that gift of writing, because I like to read and write. But what really inspired me was there was a small book called Bible Answers, and I was very much in evangelism, and I tried to ask the church to print this booklet so that we can be using it, and I was not making any progress until I decided, now if this book cannot produce, then why can't I write? And that's how I produced my first book, 1999, Prophecy Explained, Book 1, Questions and Answers. That's how I started writing. We are a family of 7, we have 5 children, 4 sons and 1 daughter. One challenge with the authors is that authors are not good socially. And the children will come. When the children come here, we are with them, yes, but they are more with the mama, with the shosho than with the kuka. We chat a little, and then let me say that even for mama, I acknowledge her in my books, because it's difficult to live with another. In fact, Martin Luther was took so much time in his library that his wife Catherine, one day when Martin Luther had gone out, brought a fundi and took away the door, so that Martin Luther should be available. Could be available. And therefore, when Martin Luther came back, I asked her, what has happened? No, I don't want the door. That's the nature of writers. Therefore, we have time for the family, but not the way it should be. Writers have that problem, that challenge. This is Mama's work. When we retired, because another thing is that you say, we accepted the faith together. We came to the church together. When we came to the time of retirement, we retired the same day. When I was being sent to home as a pastor, she also was taken after as a credentialed evangelist. Therefore, we just came home. And then the issue was, now, first of all, where do we live? And the challenge was, now we can go back to Moranga. But since we left Moranga, first of all, when I became an Adventist, I lost my friends because of the faith. Then I became a pastor. I even was even cut more. Cut further. And now the time of our retirement is coming. Where do we retire? We said, if now we go to Boranga, what are we going to do with the social life? Because social life is the most important thing in retirement. How do you relate with life? Because when you are a pastor, you are busy with people. Now all of a sudden, to come home. What are you going to do? Therefore, I say now, I lost my Kikuyu friends. In fact, my friends are international. We are a very interesting family. You see, even our children, two sons have married in Kisi. Therefore, they are Mkolera. Our only daughter is married in Nyanza. And therefore, I'm a Nyawana. And then another has married a Kikuyu, therefore Mudonua. And perhaps I may get another international one. Therefore, therefore I'm not a Kikuyu. I'm only a Kikuyu blood. But my association in life has been international and national. And also because of my world view, I cultivate in the rural setting. Also because of my writing assignment, there was no electricity by the time I was retiring in Muranga. There no electricity, how can I get internet? All this kind of information. And therefore I'll be cut off from the people. And because of being in this city since 1984, that's a long time. I've been in this city. Therefore, where are my friends?
In the city.
In the city. From Central Church, Nairobi South, New Life, all this. And therefore, I decided to be where my people are. You can see now, when I came to get, where did I get this book?
From a friend in the city.
From somebody. And therefore, that's why we decided to be here. Therefore, then we said, because I'm busy in books, what would be Mama doing? And therefore, this is Mama's work. We said that we grow bananas. And we said we want to go back to our old life where we ate bananas ripe from the garden. We don't prepare them here. We don't bring them. Unless they ripen there. That's when they start eating them there. And therefore, in fact, one of this one just dropped. It was the baby was too heavy. It dropped it down. Now we have eaten two. The ones you have eaten here are from here.
Wow.
And therefore, we say that Mama have this. Then have the goats and have the chickens. Therefore, she is busy there. I am busy in the laptop. Everyone with his or her work. And therefore, but she is busier than me. You see, writers use the brain, not the body. That's why I have to go for jogging because I'm only using the brain. But you see, she does not go for exercise with me because by the evening she has traveled at least 6 kilometers here. She's better than me, and therefore this is our work. We do devotion together. You see, my wife has all the theology I have because she is always my listener. When you people call me, she is there. For listen, last Sabbath was the first Sabbath I went out. They called me to go and teach elders and their spouses. And when they called me, and I gave them the protocol, they said, no, we are going to make the protocol. Our open air meeting. No shade and no microphone. Therefore, don't bring many people. Nowadays, I don't want many people. Now, when we went there, I told them, one subject we shall separate. Elders will be separate and the wife will be separate. And I want the wives to be with the mama. I cannot come here and just dictate things to mamas. I want mama to tell you how an elder's wife should live with this with her elder. Therefore, is because she knows all this. She has been hearing all this. She's just like me. If you allow her to teach you Daniel in Kikuyu, perhaps she'll be better than me. In this book, my most wonderful text is Revelation 4, verse 11, where the 24 elders were worshiping God in heaven. And this is what they said in Revelation 4. I'm not going to talk about the background or all that. You asking me for a text. He says, whenever, I'll start from verse 9. Whenever the living creatures give glory, honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne and who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever. They say, they lay their crowns before the throne and say, you are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will they were created and have their being. To me, that text, let me tell you, this is the text that goes the farthest in eternity. People think that thing started in Genesis 1. But this text is telling us and telling me that God is the one who created all things, and it is by his will. And I always mention it in prayer. In Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. That is our message to me. That God's plans for me is to give me a future and a hope. The last one, because there are many, is the last words of God to Daniel, the last verse of Daniel. And this talks about death. God was talking to Daniel in chapter 12, and in verse 4 he told him that for you, Daniel, shut up the vision, close up the vision, and seal the words until the time of the end. Then God goes on talking, the angel goes on talking, and then he tells Daniel that, verse 11, from the time that the daily sacrifice is abolished and the abomination that causes desolation we set up, there will be 1,090 days. Blessed are the ones who waits for and reaches the end of 1335 days. That's not what I'm talking about. Is that verse 13, the last one. As for you, now God is talking to Daniel. As for you, go your way till the end. You will rest. And then at the end of the days, you will rise to receive your allotted attendance. God is assuring Daniel. Daniel died with the assurance of God. That Daniel, your assurance is there. Your allotment is there. Just go and rest. And therefore I say, God, I would like to die with those words you gave to Daniel. That go and rest to await your allotment. So that when that allotment comes, you rise from the death and you get it. Those are the three I would just mention among the many. I would just say that the most important thing for a pastor to know is that he's working for God. The most important thing is commitment to the work of God and having faith that God is in control of his life. A pastor should be sure that he has the call. That is God who has called him, not the church. God only uses the church as a conduit to reach the pastor and call him. And therefore the pastor is first and foremost God's worker before he's a church worker. And that would be the motivating factor of the pastor's life and ministry, so that he knows that this work is a calling. I would like pastors to be more spiritual than professional. That professionalism is good, but unless a pastor is a spiritual minister, unless a minister is really a man of God in himself, then he will not enjoy the ministry. The ministry is different from other professions. Other professions, people have satisfaction in money, in remuneration, and others. In this work, it will not be remuneration. You will never be remunerated to your satisfaction. But seeing souls come to Christ, that is the topmost remuneration of a gospel minister.